Namaste, my name is Holly Semanoff, and today we'll be channeling straight from Source. And today's channeling is going to be all about family relations, family systems. So I'll just go ahead and open up the channel. We are here, present here, we speak as one. As always, we ask you to not only listen to our words, but to allow yourself to feel them, connecting with your feeling body, to notice what information is coming through what is told to you through your body. And what is told to you through your body is specifically through your feelings and your emotions, or the energy in motion. Now, we wish to speak to you about family. Usually, when someone says family, people think instantaneously about their blood bonds through family units. This is something we wish to talk about, and even beyond that, into family or connections beyond just the blood bond, but through frequency and through a recognition of energy. Now, speaking to family and the blood bonds that you have here on planet Earth, we must speak as well to the journey of the soul. When we speak of the journey of the soul, then you are able to comprehend not only your family bonds, but even beyond that, to bonds that you have with other people and even other beings, as far as animals and beyond. Yes, you can have distinct bonds with animals, and we will speak of that as well. Coming back now to the bonds you have through blood. Many of you may have experiences with family that are very close, that you feel are supportive relationships, and others may have bonds with family, considering blood family, that you are necessarily very fond of, and that as well is a bond, but not something you particularly think that you have chosen into. And again, we are speaking of a bigger perspective of the soul and of the spirit. You choose your relationship with family, whether you choose it as a supportive role or whether you choose it as a teaching role. You can still have a teacher in your space that is a family blood bond, and it can be very beautiful. It can be connected. It can be intimate and close. You can also have family bonds that do not seem so beautiful in your mind's eye, being human, yet can create great growth for your soul. Now you come into a question. If someone has relationships with their family bloodline that is not necessarily positive, why would they choose that? And we say choose, though some people may not believe that they choose their family. They do. You make these choices so that you can have an experience here on planet Earth that you have particularly cultivated, unique to your soul and your soul's growth. This you have heard about if you have done any self-awareness work in family systems. But speaking to that, you particularly pick people in your family that can create growth. There are different teachers on this earth plane. There are teachers that can inspire you by the way they show up. There are also teachers that can inspire you by the way they show up of what you do not want to do, through observation and even through direct experience. Sometimes people, as far as their soul coming into a human experience, will choose their greatest teachers that may be very hard to work with as a family blood tie, because that way they can't get away from them so easily, especially in the beginnings of life. So then they allow themselves to learn and to grow, whether through direct experience or observation of what they do not want to be. Now you come into the question, what if they illuminate that exact same experience or behavior that they do not like, then you are coming into a mind frame of having to approach the reality in thinking, I must be this way because other people are this way. For example, if I'm not mean, then someone else will be mean to me. And then in that sense, you create opportunities for yourself to show up and be mean to other people because you do not want someone else being mean to you. It is a power struggle or an exchange of power there. You can also choose the other way. I choose to not be mean because someone else was mean to me and I know how it feels. Thus, I choose to show up another way. You see, in family systems, you can again have two types of teachers. You can have those that inspire you with their behavior. You can have those that inspire you with their behavior of what you also don't want to be. Now, in that relationship as well, you have some teachers that you have continued throughout lifetimes and life experiences. These teachers are familiar to you, and you may not always get the full lesson in one lifetime, so you will choose to come back again with that same spirit, that same being, in order to continue the lesson to full completion. Now, this is entirely up to each individual soul, whether they want to continue with a teacher or not. And these teachers can be brothers, sisters, mothers, fathers, or grandparents, and beyond. They can even be step-parents, step-sisters, step-brothers, and again the list can go on and on to even nieces and nephews. Though, if you have a blood tie to someone who you distinctly find is not comfortable to be around or who pushes your buttons, that is a very clear cue that this is a teacher for you. Because of how humans perceive the family ties, they often don't cut them as quickly as other ties to families or acquaintances, even beyond just the blood ties. You can call a family a friend, but it is not the exact same as the blood tie. The blood tie in being a human is that you believe that you must have a relationship with them. So it will keep you with that relationship a lot longer to learn and to grow in ways that you do not cut it off as quickly as other things and people. Now, saying this, we also wish you to focus on those family ties that you feel very close to, that are very familiar to you. Again, you also choose those teachers to be close to you in a supportive manner. They may be anything but deeply connected to you in a blood tie. We have many ways to grow. Again, we can grow through teachers that push our buttons and make us uncomfortable. We can grow through teachers that make us comfortable and feel nurtured with them. Both are needed on this journey that you call life, because this life's experience is in both oneness and duality. This is an and here. If you allow yourself to see that you have teachers in duality and in oneness, in connection, in growth, in nurturing, and in those that will push you to grow and expand in ways that even make you feel uncomfortable, this is the journey. The journey is not always easy in the sense, but at the end of the experience of life, you will look back and see that somewhere along the way, even the painful experiences taught you something great. And those painful experiences will often include people, those people that are close to you in blood ties, and even beyond that. Now, to speak to the friends that appear as family. Again, you as a soul have an experience of moving through and outside of time and space. moving through and outside of time and space, you have acquaintances and you've worked with people that you've not necessarily had blood ties with, but that you wish to continue a relationship with in this 3D realm. And those people come forward, sometimes in moments, in days, in weeks, in years, and sometimes for a lifetime. These people are here to remind you of who you are. These are those teachers that are there for remembrance. You have something inside of you that lights up and it feels familiar, and in that familiarity you relax yourself. And when you relax yourself in being human, you have a greater chance of relaxing yourself as well, not only into your humanness but into your spirit and your soul. And then that connection can bring forth all the gifts that you have accumulated over lifetimes, and those gifts have come through teachings, the teachings from other beings, and then it can come forward in this life. So having familiars is very important. And sometimes those familiars can of course be family blood bonds, but oftentimes it is even beyond the family, because family has different acquaintances in how they perceive you. When they perceive you a certain way because they've seen you grow up, then you can't always grow out of a mask or a way in which they expect you to show up. This is when you come across acquaintances that don't necessarily know you, but you feel familiar with, and then you're able to relax with, and then begin to recognize and remember who you are even before other people told you who you were, specifically within family ties, because they will tell you how you get to be only because it is what is familiar to them. There are times and places though, and especially through friends, that you are able to allow yourself to relax a little bit more, to touch a deeper part of you that remembers who you are, even outside of family projecting onto you whom you should be. And that relaxation will bring your soul forward more to the surface, and then you can truly be who you are. Now, you do have friends that come into your space, even co-workers and partners, as far as business or experiences in the life, that are also teachers, not necessarily of friendship, but of showing up for yourself and allowing yourself to be in integrity and honesty with you. Those whom show up and are dishonest and non-integrable give you an opportunity to again choose. Do you choose into that same behavior because you believe I will do it to someone else before they do it to me? Or do you choose not to move into that behavior because it is not desirable for you, so thus you do not want to put it out into the world or into other people? This is an experience of embodiment, though sometimes the human mind may think, I must do this first to protect myself so it doesn't happen to me. What you end up doing is building your reality on that truth. For example, if you build a reality on the truth that you must be dishonest and unintegrable, then you will create opportunities for many people to come into your space that are also dishonest and unintegrable. Though, when you choose to be honest and have integrity, you may once or twice have someone show up to be dishonest or unintegrable, but as you continue to stay true to how you wish your reality to be and how you choose to show up in the world, then you will allow that frequency to go out. Not because you yourself have become that, but because people who've shown up that way, you wish not to be that way. And then you create a reality in which other people are also honest and integrable, and they come into your space. In that sense, again, relationships can teach you in two ways. They can teach you through being what you not wish to be, or through being what you wish to be. And This will illuminate your life to be able to consciously choose how you wish to show up. Now we wish to speak as well to relationships with animals. Many people out there have had deep connections to certain animals, whether through species or even just simply through a connection that one has either with a familiar pet or even with a wild animal that has become a close friend. This is unique in this human experience only because often the consciousness of different animals will more be living in their own world, yet because of human growth, they have also opened up the space to begin exchanging consciousness with animals and specific species. This has opened up close relationships of how to be in this world and how to care not only for people and themselves, but also for other forms of life that think differently than the human, but are just as valid as is anything else in this reality. When you allow yourself to connect deeply with an animal or a species, you allow yourself to open up your consciousness in a unique way that is communicating quite differently than humans do. You can know this because no other life force truly speaks the human language. Although you can teach other life forms to speak your language, they do not consciously choose to speak your language as in fully. Though they can pick up words and sentences, it is not a full communication. But if you open yourself up to communicate with some form of an animal life here, then you can open yourself up as well to communicate on a more feeling-based level that is outside of physically having to speak a word, but of feeling the communication. You can say it is telepathic, but they are not necessarily using your words to speak to you telepathically. They are sending feelings through your body that you then translate into the words of your language that you then say, this animal said this to you. Yes, they did. Though they did not say it in your language, they said it through the feeling body. Your feeling body then translated it into the language of your understanding. You'll see, through the forms of language, you will always change your unique energy that you're receiving from another being or animal into your own language through your feeling body. Oftentimes, when people speak of humans speaking many languages, they will go back to a story that has been told in the times of Babylon, and how all people used to speak the same language, and then they no longer did, and there were many different languages, and no one could understand anyone. What also happened here was that the feeling body got disconnected from each other. You can understand each other through your feeling bodies. Even beyond understanding the animals, you can understand each other as far as other people if you open up your feeling body to connect with what they're feeling. Oftentimes when people speak, they will speak from what they are feeling. Even if it is a lie, that truth of what the feeling is will be behind the words. So if you are deeply connected with your feeling body, you will even know when someone is saying something through their words and out loud, but what they are in fact saying is through their feeling body will tell you if someone is lying, because the feeling body will always tell the truth of what someone is actually saying. Though it can change when they actually choose to speak the words, the feeling body is the original language. It is the language that is then translated into what people understand as far as their logical mind that wants to put the feelings then into words. So we are saying as well, if you wish to strengthen your connection with understanding or feeling what other people are truly saying, you can begin to even connect more deeply with animals and ask that they teach you how to communicate with your feeling body and translate that into words. And then that translation can move, and it can even extend into the human race. And you can feel what people are actually saying without even having to listen to them. And though many times people's feelings and their words may be accurately aligned, you will also recognize that sometimes their feelings are not accurately aligned with what they are actually saying. And this is simply because there is a disconnect between their feeling body and their ego or their mind, or them not actually wanting to be heard or seen from what they want to say, but they are shifting and changing it because possibly they wish to lie or deceive. So in saying all of this, we are telling you, if you wish to even improve your communication skills in relation to yourself and each other by truly tapping into what is the truth of what someone is saying, is work on your feeling body to feel the words. And when you do that, you will think of yourself as becoming telepathic, though it is really feelings that are changing then into words in your head that are translated. That is what is going on as far as telepathy. Now, coming back to family systems, you can strengthen this because sometimes in family systems, whether blood bonds or friends or simply acquaintances, many times what is discombobulated is the communication. Whether one means to be discombobulated in their communication or not, sometimes it is conscious and sometimes it is not, but you can truly then tap into what someone is wanting to say and truly how they are wishing to show up. Now, look at your life. Look at those family bonds that you have through blood, and you can even write these down. You can write on one end who inspires you through their action, their way of showing up, and write on the other end who inspires you in the way that they show up by how you don't want to be. And we are using an inspired because that is what it is. It is inspiring you not to show up a certain way. So it is not necessarily in a judgment way, but you are seeing both ends of it. And you may find there's a lot that inspire you in the way they show up because they support you, or there's a lot that inspire you in the way they show up because they don't support you, so you choose not to show up that way. But we want you to write those out. And when you're able to step back and realize that those that have inspired you to not show up a certain way because of the way they've shown up, they are as well great teachers. That does not necessarily mean that you have to have a relationship with them, but because of how you were born into this world and you had a blood bond with them, it forced you into a relationship with them. And because of that relationship through a blood bond, it gave you an opportunity to observe how you would choose not to show up in this world. And so you did not necessarily have to become that in order to learn it. Someone else became it so that you could observe it and choose another path. Those actually can be some of the greatest teachers who show us how we wish not to be because they embodied that. And that is their own pain that they went through in order for you to simply witness that you choose not to take that path because it was not enjoyable as far as you observed it and didn't enjoy it on the receiving end, and also as far as you witnessing it and seeing that they in fact might not enjoy it as much as they believed themselves to be, because you're looking in on it and seeing the whole picture. Now in this as well, look at your friends, look at other acquaintances as far as business partners or so forth, and you can even write those down of who inspires you through their way of being that is supportive and nurturing, and the opposite, who has inspired you on your life's path because of the way they showed up and how you wish not to be. And as you write them down again, it allows you to take a step back and just be an observer with those people in your life and how they've shown up. And when you do this consciously, you then allow yourself to be more empowered and to see and recognize that everybody can be a teacher. And again, just because someone has lied to you or been dishonest does not mean that they are necessarily evil or bad, but they have definitely taught you that being on the receiving end of that is unenjoyable. So, do you wish to continue that in the world by being dishonest and in unintegrity, or do you wish to do something different, to be different? Because they had to embody that energy in order to bring it towards you. It is a very powerful lesson to recognize this, that people must embody the energy, and in that embodiment, they become it and it overflows from them. So recognize this. Allow yourself this moment to look at all of your relations through your lifetime until this point. And when you look and step back and see that everyone has been a teacher, you then allow yourself to also let go and unwind yourself, possibly from those teachers whom have not been very desirable or who you've not enjoyed so much. And then in that unwinding process, you allow yourself to receive what it is you wish to embody instead. And as you embody that, then you bring more of that into your life, more of those kinds of people into your life, such as those who are honest and those who are in integrity. You, though, must first recognize that what you put out into the world will come back, though sometimes we do have teachers that show up in ways that we can simply observe so that we can choose another way of being and recognize that it is a choice, and you don't necessarily have to embody a certain pathway in order to grow from it. You can also grow through simple observation. Now, with all of this said, give yourself that opportunity to connect deeply with the teachers in your life, however you see them, and then allow yourself to embody right now, right here, all those that have inspired you in a beautiful way, and then also bless those who have inspired you in ways in which you choose not to show up, and then allow yourself to create more connections with those that will support the embodiment in which you wish to be, and connect more deeply with your feeling body. Recognize and notice the feeling before it's transferred into words or even mental thoughts in your heart and in your mind. And as you do so, you will strengthen the connection to your feeling body and how it is actually translating energy. And then you will notice those that are showing up honestly, and possibly those who are not showing up so honestly, because your feeling body will speak to you if you give it the time and the space to do so, and recognize the shift from the feeling to the words. That is key. Allow yourself to begin to notice that, and you will become even more in tune with the energy before the words are even spoken. Now for now, we bid you farewell. So a lot of times I will see during the channelings and what I'm seeing, big thing I was seeing was with animals, and it was really interesting how it was showing me the animal, and the animal's feelings were being transferred, we'll say, like to my body, and then my body through those feelings was then transferring it actually into words, which sometimes we can say, of course, is telepathic, but it was very clear that the animal wasn't saying in, say, my English language, this one thing. It was having its own language and its own feelings, and then I was able to super clearly just tap into the energy of the feelings that then transferred into my language, which is the English language, and then that's how that telepathic transfer was going on. So that was really fascinating, and I would say that's the thing that stuck out the most. So thank you so much for coming and for joining us. It is always our hope and desire that this serves you in any way it possibly can. So thank you for listening, and until we meet again, namaste.